Hey, Tony Gas is here. Now listen, it's something that a lot of time we don't think about. And it's crazy how it works in our world, but it just goes to show you how the adversary can confound the wise with foolishness. I remember watching a show a long time ago on TV. I didn't really watch the show much. I probably seen an episode, and it was a matchmaker, and the matchmaker was single. And I remember her giving advice to a woman about how to pick up a man. And she said something like, she said you got to walk in there, and when he's at the bar, you need to walk up to him and like put your hand on his arm and like rub down his arm a little bit and say, "Hi, I'm such and such." I almost fell out. I said, how in the world do we have a single matchmaker that did not use this stuff for herself to work for herself? And so what I started to see, and I remember talking to a financial advisor, and he was broke. I was like, okay, yeah. So you want me to invest my money with you? Okay. Okay. Cause you just could tell when somebody broke. I'm like, if he not broke pocketed, he definitely broke minded. Cause them shoes a little too worn down. That suit look a little worn, little too worn. That shirt do not look. The shirt look like it ain't going to them dry cleaner. And your beard, your shaving, it really ain't up. You don't look like no successful, well kept man now. I know the scammers. This is the crazy thing. The scammers can look like they put together. But I had to look at this. I remember meeting with a motivational speaker, and he was broke, busted, and disgusted. And I was like, man, how are you motivating people and you not motivating yourself? Like, how can you not make a marriage work? How can you keep going through marriage after marriage, but you trying to teach other people about self-help? Come on now, this ain't adding up. And so this is the thing. When somebody is meant to be in your life, there will be evidence. So many people say, oh, well, he's a man of God. I'm like, oh, y'all in fornication? Well, yeah, okay, all right. Ain't now one of y'all keeping God's word then. Like, well, yeah, he's a man of God, but he keeps trying to sleep with me. Okay, that's not a man of God. In this season of his life, he may know what God is. He may have heard about God. He may go to church. He might have a title in the church. He might do something in the church. But if he's not keeping the scripture and a man after God's own heart, then that is not a man of God. Point blank, period. And so here's the thing. Today, it's like, it's what I have to do is I gotta rightfully divide. I have to bring a sword of truth. I have to help you understand, because here's the thing. When somebody's sent by the devil, he or she is going to look put together. He or she is going to look presentable. Is going to look what have you. They're going to be dressed nice. They're going to sound nice. They're going to sound articulate. They're going to sound smart. The devil is not going to show up with, let's say, an antichrist or whatever you call it, which could be anybody. But, the devil ain't going to show up with boils on the face and horns sticking out the head. Who going to follow that? Only the people who are already that. So that's not a victory. So the devil has to come in like a Decepticon. The devil got to be very deceiving. And he had to come in and he has to position this person in your life who looks the part, who looks like destiny, who says some stuff that makes sense. But when you really get to the core of it, it doesn't add up. When you really get to the core of it, you're like, this is not for my benefit. This is to my detriment. When you really evaluate the fruit at the root. And so here's the thing. One thing you'll know about God too is God is all-knowing. So God knows the limitations of humans. God knows our temptations. He knows where we fall short. So with God, what he's going to do is he's going to move us slowly. He's going to move us slowly because he understands we're going to make mistakes and we're going to fall flat on our face. And he needs us to fail, to get up, and to learn from it. So before God elevates someone, he will make sure that you have renewed your heart and you've renewed your mind. You've renewed your spirit. So when my marriage was out of order, my first 2 years of marriage, 2007 through 2009, nothing happened good in my business. I became an author in 2007, but I still wasn't the man that I was claiming to be. So until I made a decision to turn over a new leaf and really be what I wanted to talk about, what I was trying to represent, God didn't move in my business at all. At all. But after I made that decision and I renewed my heart, I renewed my mind, that's when 2010 is when stuff started to move. 2010 is when I got hired by the NBA and the NBPA to speak to the top 100 high school basketball players and to the 60 NBA draft picks. 2010, 26 years old. That's when I got my first real speaking engagement in 2010, $1,500 to speak for 30 minutes in Minnesota, I think, at a bishop's relationship retreat. And that's when things started to move. Now, I still had tests in my life and still had some things that I would bump into and I would get weak and I would see. But see, I still wasn't like a brand. I still didn't really have a following that was listening to what I was saying. So God still was moving me slowly. So things didn't really take off till like 2014 through 2016. But by that time, I had been built in the space that I'm in, and I had gained my footing, and I had cleaned up my heart. Because see, God don't set you up for failure. He's going to make sure that if he tells you to build it, he'll give you the tools for it. And that's what a lot of times we don't understand. We don't realize that. So this is what happened. Now, when you see somebody that comes into your life in a relationship and they just straight to the point, super duper fast, first week I love you, 2 weeks I love you, that's a red flag. God don't move like that. He's going to give you time. It's about wisdom. Just like out here in the world, the voices online. When you see somebody that just out of nowhere, boom, pops up and all of this huge following and all these views and all of this, God don't move like that. And when you listen to the people talk, you can try the spirit by the spirit. You won't hear God in it. You won't see a representation of God. You won't see a purity of God. You won't see a patience of God. You won't see a temperament of God. And that's how you know he or she has come to do destruction. But see, what the devil will do is the devil will package people to show up in the world and show up in your life to look the part. And they'll give them a script that where they kind of sound the part. But see, what the devil is doing is the devil gonna take and push this person all the way to the mountaintop. And the devil gonna bring a lot of God's children because the script gonna sound like it makes sense. But see, one thing that the adversary knows is that the heart of this individual is flawed, that the heart is not pure, that the intentions are not pure. So what the adversary is going to do is the adversary is going to take this person to the highest heights, and then he's going to push them off. But now men and women have held on to this person's every word, and they believe this person, and they believe this person represents the change that the person is talking about the world needs. And then when the devil pushed this person off the mountaintop, everybody has already bought tickets to see the success, and they end up seeing the failure. So when they lose faith in this man or this woman, they also lose faith in the message, in the movement. So if that movement was about healthy love or healthy relationships, so they said, people cannot believe in it because the messenger failed. And so what happens is the messenger does matter. That's why when God sends somebody, he sends evidence. So if God sends somebody to you to help you with your finances, their finances will be in order, and you'll be able to verify that. When God sends somebody to help you in your love and relationship, their love and relationship is going to be in order, and you'll be able to verify that. Anytime God sends somebody, he's going to send a sign. He's going to send a wonder. Just like when he sent his son, he sent him with signs and wonders. And as you read the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you're going to hear Jesus say over and over, I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing this for you so that you may believe. You're going to hear him say, I know who I am, I know who my Father is, but you don't know me. So I got to do these signs and wonders. And you're going to hear him say, with all these signs and wonders, you still don't believe? With all of this evidence, you still don't believe? And then guess what? What you're going to hear the people say? You're going to hear the people tell Jesus, guess what? The sorcerers could do the same thing you're doing. The sorcerers and the witch doctors could do the same thing you're doing. You know why you hear that? Because the devil always is going to be a close copy. The devil always going to look like the real deal. But it's a snare. See, God gives gifts and adds no sorrow. The devil gives snares that looks like a gift. See, a snare is a trap. It's going to set you up. So, in my space in particular, there's a rise of just all these different men and women alike who are pushing this message of, black love or just love in general, if they're talking to multiple races, of the family and having the family and getting the family together and keeping the family together. And on the surface, it sounds good, but you got to get to the root. In the root of it, what you will hear being asked of the woman, you will hear the woman being asked to compromise her standards, to compromise her self-worth, to compromise her self-respect. So the women who are bringing a message that come from the devil will tell women to use their body, use their femininity to bait a man and to get money from a man and to get this man and to get a man with money. That's not healthy. That's going to be toxic. It's going to be abusive. And it's going to destroy the family. The men who are sent by the devil, they're going to preach family, family, family. But when you listen to the message, you're going to hear signs of them saying, let the man be a man. Which then you're going to hear them explain in their examples of your grandmother was cheated on and nobody ever found out until the funeral, because she knew to keep her family together, she needed to shut up. So you're actually being told that we want families, but we want the woman to be broken. And we want the man to be toxic, basically. We want the man to be able to call all the shots. We want the man to be able to do and say what he want to do, as long as he has money, which is being called high value men. As long as he got money, he need to be able to do what he want to do. And then you may hear some say, well, we're not saying cheat. But then in all the examples is about your grandma putting up with cheating. So yes, you are saying that. So you're saying what you're saying, you're not saying. But see, that's how the devil trip you up. He gonna say something that sound good, but it really don't make sense. And see, here's the thing. When something is of God, it's gonna come from love, even when it hurts. It's gonna come from love. So when somebody's sent by God, you're gonna see patience, you're gonna see temperament, and you're gonna feel love, because God is love. When somebody is yelling or cursing or being condescending, demeaning, that's not of God, because God does not come to destroy self-esteem. A lady wrote me and she said, hey Tony, there's this guy and he has this podcast and I listened to it, and by the end of it I felt like killing myself. I felt fat, I felt black and ugly, I felt disgusting, and I felt like no man will ever love me. That ain't how God gonna send a message. That's not how God gonna send a message. Now what it may sound like is, hey, what are you doing to love you? Who are you? It may actually say about the same thing. And you'll hear some people who on the outside, they'll say this person over here saying the same thing as this person. But see, it ain't about what's said. It's also about how it's said. It's also about why it's said. And it's also about where it's coming from. So one person could say something to you and it's in love. Another person can say the same thing, but it's coming from their self-hate. One person could say something to you and it comes from a place of love for you. Another person can say the same exact thing to you, but it's coming from a place of them despising you. So see, only will the wisdom of God give you the ability to discern the righteous and the real from the fake. But see, here's the thing. You gotta be patient. You gotta be prayerful. You gotta pay attention. Because see, one thing about the good seed gonna bear good fruit. A good root gonna bear good fruit. A bad root gonna bear bad fruit. And see, sometimes it takes time. It takes time to see. And so the thing is when you walking with God, one thing you're gonna realize is that God may not come when you want him to, but he's always on time. That's why the song exists. Because somebody walking with God experienced that. And they said, let me write a song about it. See, the one thing that you know when you're walking with God is that you're going to be moved at your own pace. And God is going to give you wisdom why everything is not coming overnight, why you're not given $1 million your first year in business, why you're not given 1 million supporters your first year in business. Because what God understands is that he created you, and he has to give a human time and space to human, to do what humans do, to fail, to cheat, to make mistakes, to take shortcuts, to tell lies. And then if you really want to work for God and be a light for God, he'll chastise you. You'll go through a season and you'll be beat down by life. But at the same time, God will comfort you. You won't have to go on pills. You won't have to go to an insane asylum. You won't be just left for dead. No matter how low you get, God will comfort you and you'll have a peace in that season. And in that season, God will give you the wisdom and the clarity to see where you've gone wrong. And what you will see is that God didn't do it to you. Is that the bad things that happen to you is life happening, because life is set in motion. Good happens in life, bad happens in life, life happens to us all. So God will give you peace with that. And you'll say, Lord, let me get every lesson that is intended for me in this season. And you'll have peace. And in the midst of the struggle, in the midst of the storm, you'll smile. You'll smile because you know that trouble, you finish my sentence, doesn't last always. And you will appreciate the climb. You will appreciate the struggle. You will appreciate the failures. Because one thing you have been assured of is that when it comes, it's coming. And can't no man or woman stand in the way of it, stop it, or block it. And you know that season is going to be a season of all seasons. And everybody who lays eyes on you and bears witness of that season will not be able to deny the name of God. God will give you peace. But see, listen. The devil has dominion over the earth. Jesus said it when he was about to be crucified. Read the Bible. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Somebody told me I was lying. Read the Bible. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Jesus tells you he's going back to sit with his Father. And he leaving this earth to the devil. But that he's going to be here in your heart if you accept him in your heart. And that all the works that he did, you can do. Those same works he did through him. He tell it to you right in the word. Sit down and read it. So that is why you see sin and hate and violence. Because dominion of earth was given to the adversary. And God comes into the hearts of the men and women who call him, who accept him, who love him. He intervenes in your life, in your situation, and he uses your story for his glory. Your story becomes the signs and wonders that Jesus did so that people may believe. So when people look at you and they see what God is doing in you and through you, and when they get up close and they get to hear and find out, they say, whoa, okay. And this what you believe in? This how you living? Tell me more about this peace that passeth all understanding. Tell me more about this peace that has produced this spiritual, emotional, mental, and financial prosperity in your life. See, when it happens, it happens. And for so long I sat and I wondered, God, when is it going to happen? Like, how can I tell people about you if I'm broke, busted, and disgusted? God say, look at your life. Look at your choices. Evaluate your heart. Is your heart right before me? Is your heart pure before me? Is your effort and your ways and your actions pure before me? My answer was no. So God said, his answer is no. Because it's against his word to put more on you than you can bear. So God is not going to bless you with $1 million if you ain't learned how to sow, if you ain't learned how to save, if you ain't learned how to invest. Because $1 million would destroy you. See, God ain't going to bless you with 1 million followers if you ain't learned how to serve from a place of humility, with patience, godly love, and temperance. See, you can't mix the sacred with the profane. So what is a curse word? It's profanity. And it has been deemed profanity in our land. And we are instructed to obey the laws of the land. That's why kids are not taught to curse. That's why we don't curse in a church. It's seen as profane. And so, therefore, that's our language. You have good words, you have bad words. So when you see somebody using profanity, that's a clear indication that they are not sent by God. Because every time he or she curses, they isolate themselves from God's children who understand you can't mix the sacred with the profane. So you have to learn how to articulate yourself and express yourself in a way that even a child can listen to you. That even a child can sit in the midst of your message and receive a lesson, in case he or she does not have a parental figure that can guide them in that area. Their parental figure may actually introduce them to your message because you fill a void. But if you are profanity laced, if you are rude, if you are arrogant, if you are condescending, if you are degrading, demeaning, disrespectful, that is a clear indication that you are not sent by God. So listen. With the knowledge of the Lord comes a strong confidence. When you have the knowledge of who God is, you are confident in your work because you know who you work for. So therefore, you never, ever envy the work of the devil. You never envy the work of the devil. Because see, carnal minds think that you are focused on numbers, on followers and money. But you know everything that's for you is for you. I tell you something interesting how God works. And God will kind of show you. It's a difference between having followers and having supporters. It's a difference. It's also ironic that typically the people who have the most money have the smallest social media followers. Because guess what? People will pay to see a clown. A clown has on a painted face and is playing a role. That is not him or her in their real life. The clown may actually be crying under that mask of paint on his or her face. But a clown can put on a show, pack out a house, and take the show on the road and sell out all around the world. But guess what? That clown doesn't actually move the needle in people's lives. Nobody's actually having their life changed. They're being entertained. And so guess what? God will send clarity, and the devil will send clowns. And no disrespect to real clowns in the circus. This is just an example. But no disrespect to real clowns in the circus. I've used that before and had the daughters and sons of clowns get very offended. Listen, I'm not talking about your dad. Okay? Not talking about that. So understand this. You got to be patient. You got to try the spirit by the spirit. You have to understand the attributes of God. And you got to understand that if God wants you to lead in an area, if God wants you to teach in an area, He's going to make sure that you could take care of your own house in that area first. God don't do fake. God not going to send you to be a financial advisor and you broke. God not going to send you to be a personal trainer and you out of shape. God is not going to send you to be a relationship and love coach if you're not married and happy. God not going to send you to be a singles coach if you're not a happy single person or found happiness in singleness. God not going to send you to do that. He going to send you to specialize in what He has gifted you to do. So guess what? And the heart has to be pure. And see, here's the thing. When you call by God, you're going to see the test before the test. Because with every test from the adversary, God will provide a way of escape. So you're going to see it coming before it comes. And God will give you wisdom to create an accountability circle around you and to put it out there. To let the devil know you see him. I see you. I got my eyes on you. I see what you're doing. God will show me how to get around it. God will show me the way of escape. Good try. You're going to have to come better than that. But I'm going to stay prayed up at the foot of the Lord, going boldly before the throne, asking every day that God double my wisdom, double my faith, double my strength, double my courage, double my heart, double my humility, double my love. You see, you got to be careful, because the devil is busy and he tricky. He gonna come and he gonna put some things in front of you that's gonna look shiny, it's gonna look good. Some of the stuff gonna sound good. But when you really get to digging, you gonna see where it's off center, where it's a snare, it's a setup. So guess what? When you go somewhere and you being talked to and you getting a message, if it's not empowering you and encouraging you and inspiring you to love yourself more, to work on yourself more, to be a better person, and to never feel like you are less than anybody else. Never feel that way. To never settle for less than you deserve. To never compromise your self-worth, your self-respect, or your standards just to be in a relationship, just to have a job, just to have a quote-unquote friend. If that ain't what you walking away with, it's not of God. If you feel like you got to change your standards to get something or somewhere or someone out of life, that message is not of God. Because see, God gonna meet you where you need to be. So as you grow and change and become, the better you become, the better you're gonna attract. Meaning, when you change your attitude, it's a different type of people gonna stick around you. You change your outlook on life for the better and you positive, it's a different type of people gonna be around you. And this what we have to realize is that today we're in spiritual warfare. The devil looking good, the devil sounding good, the devil making sense. Let me ask you this though. Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Because see, if God in it, he gonna show you. He gonna let you know so that you can see him. Yeah, it ain't the same as walking by faith, because we walk by faith and we saved by faith through grace. But when God send you a message, He's gonna give you peace in your heart. When God send you a person, when God send you an opportunity, when God sending you a blessing, you're gonna feel His presence. You're gonna know it. So listen, if you not rocking with the Lord, don't expect anything from me other than a message from the Lord. Like, you have to be hot or be cold. You can't be lukewarm. Like, you either into this type of message and this type of lifestyle, this type of movement, this type of balance, or you into that over there. You can't be both. You can't be both, because you're going to get split right down the middle. You're going to find yourself being lost, hurting, and confused, because you didn't choose whether you want to keep your standards and be okay being alone. If you can't have somebody, find somebody that's going to love you the way God loved you, or deciding that you're going to tuck your tail between your legs, you're going to bite your tongue, you're going to turn your head and cover your eyes like you don't see that you're being disrespected, that you're being talked down to, that you're being put in a box that you don't belong to be in, that you're being cheated on, that you're being beat on, that you're being physically, emotionally, or verbally abused in any kind of way. Because when you really get to the root of the message, you're going to find out what you're being asked to do. And that's what's going to let you know what's from God and what ain't. So listen, somebody come in your life, what you have to realize, the very thing you praying for will show up and look just like what you prayed for, but not have the root. They may have the fruit, but not the root. So guess what? That's when you have to tap into the word and remember the attributes. And so now you know God tells you, be anxious for nothing. If you anxious for a boyfriend, if you anxious for a girlfriend, if you anxious for marriage, you gonna rush it. And you're gonna overlook the red flags. But see, when you patient and you peaceful and you taking your time and you recall that the scripture said the race is not given to the swift, but to the one who endures to the end. So a lady asked me, Tony, I'm 41 and I'm a virgin. Can I find love? Like, is love for me? And some people try to say, no, that's not realistic. And if you say it is, Tony, you just telling this lady what she want to hear. Listen, I know God. That's why it don't sound right to a carnal mind. Because this woman, if she is right and her heart is right before God, God got her on a marathon. The women that lost their virginity at 11 and 12, at 18, at 25, they on a different path. But if God has reserved her and kept men out of her life, because she could have been, anything could have happened to her. But God saw fit for a different story, because He gonna use somebody that was touched as a child, and He gonna use their story for His glory. He gonna use somebody that chose to be promiscuous, and He gonna use their story for His glory. And then He gonna reserve some who have never been violated by a man or penetrated by a man, and He gonna use her story for His glory. Because He got to use different people from different walks, with different talks, with different stories, because those are the signs and wonders for people to believe, for people to look and see. That is God's glory. What? That is God's glory. Wow. I ain't know that. So you mean to tell me you could be a virgin until your 40s, meet a man who is a virgin too? Or meet a man who he might not be a virgin, but he done renew his mind, renew his heart, renew his spirit, and he loves the fact that you was a virgin. And see, guess what? You will know the tree by the fruit it bears. So if I'm a man, and this I'm answering her question from a male perspective. If I met a woman who was 41 years old and she's a virgin, I would be ecstatic as a single man. What? You've been in protective custody of the Lord all this time? I get to be your first. We get to learn together. We get to build together. If I was a virgin, and if the Lord had not been in my heart, and I was not a virgin, but He had convicted my heart and I had changed my heart, and she had not met a virgin that was worthy of her, but yet she saw this other man of God as worthy of her love because he has been renewed and made a new creature, man, that's a dream. But guess what? Men who are not sent by God, they will tell her, it ain't no help for you. A man gonna think you crazy. A man gonna think something wrong with you. A woman who is not sent by God, they're gonna tell her, you must be broken. How you a virgin at 41? That don't make no sense. A man ain't gonna want that, because men don't really like virgins. That's the devil. God gonna use your story, whatever it may be, however it is written, however it will be read. God will use your story for His glory. That's what you got to know and understand. That's what you got to know and understand. You got to understand that there is a line in the sand. You either for him or you against him. You can't be on both sides. The Bible tell you you got to be hot or you got to be cold. Because if you are lukewarm, he will spit you out his mouth. Understand what I'm telling you. You can't play the middle and both ends. You got to pick a side. Do you want health and happiness and purity and righteousness? Or do you want to look like you got something but be empty on the inside of your heart or of your bank account? Do you want to look shiny and be the thing that glitters and glistens but really is not gold? Or do you want to be pure gold, malleable and soft for the use of the Lord? You might not have the luster and the shine that this person over here got working for the devil, but you being used for what's righteous. And that's what you got to choose. That's what you got to choose. So, hey, it's Tony Gaskin. God bless you. Hey, this ain't for everybody. And guess what? I'm not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. So understand that I'm not trying to please nobody but God. Understand that. I don't want no followers. I don't want no fans. I don't want nothing but what God got for me. I'm not here to compete. I'm not here to compare. But what I am here to do is bring a sword of truth and rightly divide by his word right from wrong, righteousness from unrighteousness, and speak truth to power and let it fall where it may. Get with it or get left behind. I ain't begging for nothing or nobody, because ain't nobody got a heaven or a hell to put me in but God. My eternity is held by God, not man. God will have you with 1,000 cattle on a hill and won't nobody know it until he tell you to show it. God will have you happy, whole, and healed, and people can't even understand how until he tell you to tell it. So understand that. To y'all demons, I rebuke you in the name of the Lord. I rebuke you. This ain't no religiosity over here. This ain't religion, this relationship. I rebuke you. And I warn you, tread lightly. Tread lightly. Because God will not be mocked. God will not be played with. Tread lightly. Check your spirit. Because I guarantee you, what you don't want is the wrath of God on your life. Because you coming to sow discord and confusion in the midst of the work that's trying to be done for the betterment of the world, for the salvation of hearts. You better watch out. You better watch out. Hey, this Tony Gaskin. And just like Jesus told him, those who hear my voice, who know the voice of God, that's who it's for. And those who don't, you confused, that's a sign you ain't in line. with him. Evaluate your heart. Repent and get right before you get left. God bless you.